Classification into crude and subtle. Question. Of these 7 levels of the two truths, which are crude and which subtle? Answer. The two truths of real existence is an incomplete doctrine. It lures those of dull faculties to dispose of the dung of frivolous arguments. The meaning of the two truths is not fulfilled, so this doctrine is crude. The two truths as illusory is a complete doctrine. It is a teaching for those of sharp faculties. All 3 people, Shravakas, Pratyekabuddhas, and Bodhisattvas, realize the true aspects of reality. Compared to the previous one, this is subtle. In the same way, it is crude compared to the later ones in that it perceives only emptiness. Those who advance from the shared to the distinct teaching are able to perceive non-emptiness. This is subtle. Since it is not integrated with regard to reality, it is crude. The advancement of the shared to the perfect teaching is subtle. It is not different from the later ones in subtlety, but it is crude in including the expedience of the shared teaching. The two truths of the distinct teaching do not include the expedience of the shared teaching. In this sense, it is subtle. In the sense that its teaching is not integrated in discussing reality, it is crude. The advancement from distinct to perfect is integrated with regard to reality. Thus, it is subtle. It is crude in that it includes the expedience of the distinct teaching. Only the perfect two truths is the correct, direct, supreme path. Therefore, it is subtle, and so forth. Question. How about comparing the 7 levels of the two truths with the teaching of the 5 flavors? Answer. The milk teaching includes 3 kinds of two truths: the distinct, the perfect, and advancing from the distinct to the perfect. It is 2 parts crude and 1 part subtle. The cream teaching is only the two truths of real existence, so it is merely crude. The curds teaching includes the 7 levels of the two truths, 6 crude and 1 subtle. The butter teaching includes 6 levels, 5 crude and 1 subtle. The Lotus Sutra only has the 1 perfect two truths, and not the 6 expedient ones. It is only subtle and not crude. The reason why it is called subtle is to be found here. This is a relative classification into crude and subtle. Exposing the crude and revealing the subtle. Question. The Tathagatas of the past, present, and future basically appear in the world in order to lead sentient beings to be exposed to the Buddha's knowledge and insight. Why do you explain all these various and different interpretations of the two truths, some simple and some complicated, and some beyond conceptual understanding? Answer. These are inducements to the message of the Lotus Sutra. The Tathagata is eternally quiescent, yet his transformations permeate the universe. Truly, he does not discriminate, first deliberately planning and later taking action to save sentient beings. With his innate powers of compassionate goodness, he spontaneously guides sentient beings to attain enlightenment. Question. Someone has said that from the sermons in the Deer Park, all sermons taught by the Buddha Shakyamuni are inducements to the message of the Lotus Sutra. How about this interpretation? Answer. This interpretation is not acceptable. The period of the Buddha's sermons from the Sermon on the Seat of Enlightenment, the Avatamsaka Sutra, is also a limited period for inducements to the message of the Lotus Sutra. Alas, in this way, these inducements, namely the message of the Lotus Sutra performed in the 45-year preaching career of Shakyamuni Buddha, are of a limited period. The inducements to the Lotus Sutra have been performed all for the sake of sentient beings from the time of Mahabhijna Jnana Bibhu until now. Even these are of a limited period. expedient means leading to the Lotus Sutra have been performed, all for the sake of sentient beings, from the time of the original attainment of Buddhahood. Even these are of a limited period. Expedient means leading to the Lotus Sutra have been performed, all for the sake of sentient beings, from the time the Buddha originally practiced the Bodhisattva path. The Lotus Sutra says, quote, I originally made a vow that I would universally lead all sentient beings to attain this same path, close quote. Thus should it be known. How can it be said that the inducements are performed only in the present life of the Buddha as Shakyamuni? Question. Those originally transformed have already realized the truth and come to an end. Why do you discuss the tentative transformations of the Buddha as eternal? Answer. The idea that those originally transformed have already realized the truth and come to an end is in itself one extreme. Those who have not yet realized Buddhahood are, like the above expedient means, without end. Therefore, know that the real teachings of the Lotus Sutra embrace all the sutras. It is the original intention of the Buddha in appearing in the world, the true significance of all the teachings. People do not perceive this reality, but only the phenomenal appearances of conditioned co-arising. If they do not cease being haughty, their tongues will rot in their mouths. If they realize this essence, they will profoundly perceive the meaning of the 7 and 21 categories of the two truths. There are immeasurable doctrines of the Buddha with vast and far-reaching meaning. Further, they are mutually interrelated, from the shallow to the profound, some apparent and some hidden. The horizontal identities are all included, and the vertical grades of teachings and practice are culminated. All is consummated in the message of the Lotus Sutra.